G'day and thanks for joining us on Queensland Weekender. Wow, what a view. You really get to see things from a different perspective the higher you go. But this is not where I'm stopping today because I'm about to get a whole lot higher. That's later in the show, but for now, let's see what the rest of the crew are up to. Igloos in downtown Brisbane.
I won't bump a little bump, I won't fondue.
Plus a ride on a city icon.
How are you, mate? Thanks, Captain. Thank you.
Seeing the rainforest by rail.
They don't call it the Scenic Railway for nothing. It's just stunning.
But first up, we're heading trackside.
What do Longreach, Emerald, Innisfail and Nanango all have in common? Well, on this particular afternoon, all their main streets would be looking pretty quiet because everyone's off to the races. On any Saturday, there are at least half a dozen Queensland country towns heading trackside. And 6 times a year, it's the turn of Nanango, about 2.5 hours northwest of Brisbane.
G'day, mate. How you doing?
Compared to big cities, the turnout is fairly modest. But what Nanango Race Club lacks in size, it certainly makes up for in staying power. And club patron Reg McCallum is the embodiment of exactly that. He's still scampering up and down the tower and lending a hand at 90 years of age.
And the first Nanango Cup was won in 1869 with my grandfather. And he owned, trained and rode the horse himself. Those days they could. Of course, nowadays there's a lot stricter regulations.
So what keeps you coming back?
It's the enjoyment. Even though I haven't got a racehorse, I get out of being here and, exactly as I said, meeting new people and seeing the older ones that you've known all your life.
Well, mate, I hope when I'm your age, I'm as sprightly as you.
Oh, well, that's a real compliment.
John Lee's another fellow who's earned his long service medal. He was president of the club for 39 years. They ended up naming the track after him.
What is the tip to picking a winner? How do we do it?
The party goers, they like the name, they like the colour, or it's got something else and they go by that.
Local publican Peter Jackson has 3 horses that he hopes will get up today.
This horse is Jill's Shadow. I'm a third share in Jill's Shadow. We bought her as a young horse, broke her in. She's won 2 races here, both at Nanango. She loves Nanango, and I think she'll do pretty well again today.
It's nothing for country connections to travel up to 7 hours on a Saturday to race.
Racing now. Good start. Look at the rain and sun will time will drop.
Come on! Yes! Yes! And what a magic day for it!
But it's homegrown horse, Jill's Shadow, who earns her hay in race 3.
Yeah, won the race, yeah.
The other winners on race day are those who come best dressed.
What are you looking for with fashions on the field?
We always have a theme. We try and have a specific theme for the guys and the girls, and this one was 50s retro. And these people are just, what you would Google and find in a 50s retro outfit. They're just gone to so much trouble.
We could be at a 50s race today.
We could, yes. It looks fantastic.
The Nanango races take place half a dozen times a year.
Woo!
The Racing Queensland website has a calendar of all the country meetings across the state. If you're visiting Nanango, then Peter Jackson owns the historic Fitzroy Hotel, and he has plenty of rooms available with shared facilities.
Always got to be happy when you get a winner.
Cheers, mate.
Coming up after the break, we take a ride on the Queen. She's been on the Brizzy River for over 30 years. You been on the boat before?
I haven't, first time.
Nice. There's nothing like that Friday knock-off work feeling, especially when you've got something special planned with your beautiful wife. I'm meeting Amber at Spices Balfour, a luxury hotel right in the heart of New Farm. Hey, baby.
Hi. I ordered you a coffee already.
Thank you. And the setting, a rooftop with a bird's eye view of the city.
Isn't this the nicest high tea you've ever seen?
It's lovely. That's a nice way to start the weekend, isn't it? I feel like I need to have my little finger out. Is that?
You do. I think that's a requirement of the high tea.
As for the rooms, they're split between two neighbouring buildings in Balfour Street, New Farm. Art Deco style, the suites are visual works of art. Glamour, luxury, they're sure to impress. You'd never know this inner city sanctuary was a stone's throw from the hustle and bustle. Eagle Street Pier, a foodie's delight, is a quick Uber ride away from leafy New Farm. Now, there's plenty of restaurants along the waterfront and they get a pretty good view of the river, but if you really want to do it properly, you've got to get on the water. After you. The Kookaburra Queen. She's a Brisbane icon. How are you, mate? Thanks, Captain. Thank you. Amber and I are jumping on board for her lunchtime paddle up the river. You can dine in or out on the bow, and lunch is buffet style, or go one step further and order a seafood platter. Oh, look at this.
I am excited.
Downing oysters on the deck is a pretty enjoyable way to take it all in. The views from up top must be pretty good too. Captain Doug has quite an office. Gee, it's a big wheel. He tells us that the boat was constructed entirely of Queensland timbers right here in Brizzy, and for a very special reason.
Yes, this was built 2 years before Expo.
Okay.
And it was for Expo.
And it was sort of modelled on that Mississippi river boat?
Yeah, they're scale models of the Mississippi river boats. So
yeah, right.
They are actually quite authentic.
From what I know about the boats in Mississippi, they're made to go in fairly shallow waters. Is that right? Is that what the paddle boat's about?
All that, yeah.
When you come for a paddle with Captain Doug, ask him about his famous rescue mission from the floods of 2011. He's had a book written in his honour.
Fitting image.
The boat turns around for the return journey just past South Bank. All up, the lunch cruise is around 2 hours. It's not the only event they offer on board. Christmas in July is coming up.
Decorations, beautiful carols, good entertainment, good fun.
Do you light a fire, or is that probably dangerous on a boat?
I really don't think it's advisable when you're on a wooden boat, but
I mean, think about it, that's all I'm saying.
I really don't think I'm going to clear that one with the boss.
Back on dry land, we hear a little Nordic luxury has also landed on the waterfront. Now, winter in Brisbane, let's face it, it's not really winter. So if you want to get a little taste of it, come with us. Customs House Absolute Winter is a sight to behold. Igloos in Brisbane. Oh, look at this.
How cozy.
This is pretty cool, yeah. All right, guess we take a seat on the furs. Oh, yeah, these are comfy.
Oh, nice.
How nice. The menu, including the drinks, are all part of the theme. A warm cocktail sounds intriguing. It's a spiced cranberry number with meringue on top. These look good, thank you. Hey.
Hi.
This is called a spiced absolute winter. It's hot, it's warm.
Oh, it's warm. I wasn't expecting that.
And I've ordered a little sweet surprise for us as well.
Ooh. Can I get a hint?
It's not cheese, but a chocolate fondue. Yeah, careful. The Igloo experience at Customs House runs through winter and they take group bookings. The Kookaburra Queen offers plenty of events and runs daily, so take your pick. You can make a weekend of it at Spices Balfour. Check their rates online. Why not combine all three experiences for a really special winter city escape? I don't know if we're still filming, but I'm eating more.
Yeah, that's
Stick with us. Coming up after the break, we meet a bloke with one of the most scenic jobs in the state.
That's Devil's Nest up there.
And a World Heritage listed rainforest that you can catch a train to.
What a way to spend your day. Anzac Bicky and Nat View.
I'm Nathan Willis, Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service, based in Taroom. We manage 3 national parks in this part of the world, including Expedition National Park, Isla Gorge National Park and Palm Grove National Park. Working in these areas provides you some great, unique experiences, and we get to sort of look after some of the best parts of the country. The area covers somewhere in the order of 250,000 hectares. It's part of the sandstone wilderness area, so it forms the Great Dividing Range. This particular spot is renowned for the sunset views and just the changes of the sandstone going from orange to reds to pinks. People come out here and they can experience a lot of solitude away from other people, and generally you've got a lot of open space to yourself. Come out here, just need to have a little look around here at the vegetation. Between mid-winter and summer, we get a beautiful display of wildflowers in this part of the world. We're up in North Queensland in Innisfail, and we've been all over the state, but I still like coming back to the sandstone belt.
Tropical North Queensland's world-famous rainforest is one of the oldest on the planet. It's filled with hundreds of different exotic trees and animals. So just imagine what it's like to get up that close you could almost touch it.
And fruity cocktails, all a part of the gold class service. Here you go, mate, you can have one.
Cheers, let's get on board.
It's our first ride on what has to be one of Australia's most loved journeys, the Canungra Scenic Railway.
This is a bit la-di-da, isn't it?
It departs from Freshwater Station, just a QE north of Cairns City.
I love that you have the breeze come in on your face.
Yeah, that fresh air.
The train gently snakes its way up the range. The higher we go, the better the view.
Isn't this just beautiful?
And in gold class, freshly baked goods keep coming.
Kicking back in such comfort, it's hard to imagine the hard yakka that went into making what is one of the most ambitious railway projects to ever be undertaken in Australia. And originally not for tourism, Tash tells me. She's an authority on this train after 20 years of loyal service.
Well, gold and tin were discovered up on the tablelands, and they needed a reliable source to get supplies to and from the coast and up to the tablelands, so the railway was decided the best way to do it.
Ah, right, so tourism wasn't the first thing on their mind back in the day?
No, absolutely not.
Construction began in the late 1800s, and it wasn't until the 1930s that tourism began.
Most of the carriages are still original. They're over 100 years old. They've all been pulled apart and refurbished, and they're absolutely beautiful.
It's the authentic feel. At the end of the day, we're not here just for the carriages, it's that view.
It's what's out that window, absolutely.
Stony Creek Falls are a real highlight. They are so close to the train.
And further up ahead, there's a scheduled stop to take in the mighty Barron Falls. 329 metres above sea level, and the fall drops 264 metres.
Oh, could sit here all day.
Music to my ears.
The journey ends at Canungra Station, a quirky little town to have a good old mosey through.
Welcome to Canungra, mate.
Oh, thanks. I'll go check it out, eh?
When you want to head back down the mountain, there's two options.
We can take the train back down the way we came up, or we can take the topless option.
Let's go.
Good stuff.
Skyrail Rainforest Cableway offers a few different ways to travel over the rainforest. We'll get to the topless part later.
Oh, this is going to be sweet.
First, we're taking a ride on their glass-floored Diamond View gondola. So cool.
This view is unreal. The train was great to go explore down in the forest, and now to be above it all, you get the best of both. Well, we're starting to get higher and higher up the mountain now, Cody. The view is just getting better and better.
Check that out.
The cable runs 7.5 kilometres and crosses over the Barron River.
Yeah, clock, 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 clock.
At Red Peak Station, you can jump out and explore with one of Skyrail's rangers.
One of the tallest trees in the rainforest. As you can see, it dominates everything else. It's going to punch up through that canopy. Once it gets there, it's going to spread its foliage out and completely dominate everything else that's emerging through that canopy.
G'day boys, how are you?
How are you?
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet
Got
you.
something a little bit different for you.
I mentioned earlier the topless option. Have a squiz at the canopy glider.
Look at that view.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Just a whole different perspective
Makes you feel like you're really part of the rainforest.
This blows my mind, the amount of work that would have gone into building all this. How did they do it?
Surprisingly, it was all built from the air.
From the air?
From the air, yeah. We had some heavy lift helicopters come in, especially for the project. So the towers themselves, they were built in sections. And they were just suspended from the air. Had workers on the ground, suspended from the air, so those sections were built up for each tower. And then each of the stations as well, all the materials, all the concrete, everything came in from the air.
The size and scope is pretty impressive, but wait, there's more.
So, you know, when people think of rainforest, a lot of people think Amazon, but on the timeline, this is almost twice as old as the Amazon, so it's a pretty good claim to fame.
It's settled. You must come and do both Skyrail and the Kuranda Scenic Rail journeys. Both unique, both mind-blowing. Jump on the Queensland Rail Travel website for more info and to book.
This is a safety leak.
And after the break, I'm about to fly high above the scenic rim. Let's go, Lisa.
Let's do it.
Now, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so when there's an opportunity to try something new or hair-raising, I'm first to put my hand up. So, I'm about to jump off a cliff, see how we go. I did say jump, but I believe the correct term is fly off a cliff. We're at Rosen's Lookout at Beachmont, one of Queensland's prime locations for the adventurous to paraglide or hang glide over the scenic rim.
And if the wind's in the right direction, there's unlimited possibilities. I mean, you can fly a long way from here.
Walt Nilsson ran the first ever hang gliding school in Europe and is now president of the Canungra Hang Gliding and Paragliding Club. He has seen some impressive long distances out of Beachmont.
We have had pilots that take off from here and fly to Dalby, which is takes them about 6 to 6.5 hours.
I may not be headed that far west, but regardless of the distance you travel, safety is always the club's main concern.
The fact is it's an aircraft and you're flying, and so we have rules and regulations that need to be followed. Beginners and novices have to be under supervision. It's not until you get to intermediate or advanced that you can fly here on your own.
A bit like driving your car. You get your P-platers and the open license.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's exactly what it's like, yeah. And it's not a hard sport to learn. It's very easy.
Well, I'm about to find out for myself. Lisa, how are you? What a beautiful morning.
Lovely to meet you, Lee. Okay, we're going to chuck this on just like a backpack.
Looks like a sleeping bag.
More like a lazy boy chair.
Lisa Bradley runs Canungra Sky Sports Flight School. She also happens to be Australia's only female chief flying instructor.
I'm just as passionate about flying as I am about teaching. That's it, bigger steps. Perfect, like that, yep.
And now what, start running?
Yep, now you can stop there. Come back. But that's what it's going to feel like.
Okay.
Because you're my engine.
Yeah.
You'll still be running while I'm flying.
Lisa's love of flying was sparked in a rather unusual way when she was accidentally run over by a paraglider 19 years ago.
He was just avoiding two friends and he didn't see me and hit me and dislocated my leg. And then he started coming to see me in hospital and said he'd take me for a tandem. And tell you what, it's the best thing I've ever done. And I was hooked from day one.
I have a feeling that I'll be hooked after this flight too. Just a few last checks before we take off.
You're clipped in, closed. You're both connected to the glider, and I'm connected as well.
Yeah, the more connections between you and me, the better.
That's right.
Okay. I'm ready to go. I don't like waiting. I'm not great at waiting. I like sort of just doing stuff because the longer the wait, the more it plays with your mind, I think. So
it's true.
Lucky for me, it's not long before the wind picks up. Just want to do it. And we are ready to launch.
Big step. Yep, big step.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run. Woohoo! Holy wow!
Oh. Once we're up there, you're like a bird, okay? It's complete freedom.
Oh my goodness!
There's no motor. It's just us, gravity, just taking us down to the earth. But if we get thermals or uplift, we can actually go up just like birds soar.
Well, Lisa was right. There's nothing but the feeling of absolute freedom when you're up in the sky. You've got nothing but a harness, but you're feeling the wind amongst your face, and you feel so calm. You should feel calm, but you do. Having a bit of fun now. Whoa!
It's amazing when you're flying with the eagles, with the wedgies. it's like you're on a different planet.
If you'd like to experience a tandem flight or sign up for a full licensed course, Lisa from Canungra Sky Sports can sort you out.
Perfect.
we stayed on our feet.
Woohoo!
First go.
Awesome.
And if you'd like any information on paragliding or hang gliding across the scenic rim, visit the Canungra Hang Gliding and Paragliding Club's websites. More idea inspiration can be found on our website. You can also keep up with our travels on Facebook and Instagram, and a few other good resources are queensland.com, RACQ and Queensland Rail travel websites. Wow, that view was something special. I can't believe I was up there flying like an eagle. Well, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for now, but see you again next week. Take care.